Some brands have stuck by the community for Pride this year. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the focus group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Welcome to the Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Tim Bennett. Focusgroupradio.com is our website. You'll learn all about us there, and you'll learn about our Tuesday podcast, TFGM Button, 20 minutes, 3 stories. We like to say it's perfect for commuting or for the Stairmaster. If you don't do Stairmaster, then maybe you could just sit and listen.
The
Mr. Bennett, welcome to the
Wow.
weekend. Last I said this on Unbuttoned, and I think it might be the last we do it for 2026. Top of the Pride to everybody. The Pride Leprechaun's in town, and he's celebrating. Muted, but he's celebrating. A little muted.
I wondered about, does New York still do the big parade they used to do down?
Yep.
So they still do that?
I think it's next Saturday.
You probably could have had the Pride Leprechaun probably could have had a float and the whole deal, don't you think?
Sponsored by Lucky Charms. They could have had
well, that would take thought, John. That would take thought.
Hearts and moons and clovers and me doing my Happy Pride. I'd be hoarse like by 15 bucks in. Happy Pride.
Yeah, we could have listeners that would do a little lottery and have listeners join us on the float, and off we go.
Years ago when Bob was at a company called PVH, they went all in on Pride. They had a huge float. They owned Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, and a whole bunch of other brands. They had boys in Speedos. They had Speedo. That's right. They had Speedo at the time. They had boys in Speedos, sexy guys. Every employee got T-shirts. I had a T-shirt, Bob. We marched. It was one of the rare times I marched in the parade. And you fast forward to today, it's just people are begging for sponsorship and trying to get companies interested. And it's just, Well,
they kind of did themselves into a little bit, because I think it was you and I were working with, I forget what brand it was, but I know what it was. It was one of the nonprofits had been funded by a skincare brand.
That's right.
And the skincare brand wanted to march in the parade with them, and they weren't allowed to identify themselves because the parade didn't want corporate entities in there, which is so short-sighted, I think. But what do I know?
Or they didn't pay for a float, or they didn't pay for a spot in the parade. And Tim used to laugh all the time because the New York parade would kick off, I don't know, was it 2 o'clock or something like that? It would go on and on and on. And Tim would be like, gays for electricity, gays who like Thomas Edison.
Gays who have flowers in their yard. Oh, isn't that pretty? Gays with pets. It's unbelievable.
Our listener, Billy, used to always go to the parade and comment on, okay, it's 6 o'clock and we're still many groups to go. Total non sequitur.
One year, many years ago, many years ago, the mummers came. Philadelphia sent the mummers up.
The mummers, do they wear the little hats and drive the cars
headdresses
around?
and everything?
Okay.
No, those are the Shriners.
Shriners, okay.
No, the mummers are Philadelphia's unique New Year's brigades. And lots of men dress as women. It's mostly laborers and union workers, and they're string bands. And I still remember being in Manhattan, and the Philadelphia contingent came, because at that time, different cities would also send representation. And Philly that year sent one of these mummers bands, and the crowd went crazy. And everybody around was trying to explain to the people that, no, these men are straight. This is just a New Year's thing. That's because they're in dresses and, are costumed with plumes and feathers and all kinds of stuff. But it's always a great... I always think just a great fun atmosphere, and one of the joys of the parade. But
the Mummers Parade.
Yeah. It's gotten somber again, I think.
Really?
Well, no, I mean, I think the Pride parades have gotten to be more what they, I guess, originally were, which was somewhat of a protest, right?
Political statement. We're here.
Yeah.
We deserve. And if you go back to the 80s and the early 90s, HIV/AIDS, it was a statement to be out and to be. And then it kind of got, we can throw candy out. We can have a float, Yeah.
Total
non sequitur from Pride. And this, when you hear what I'm going to say, you're going to know it's a total non sequitur. Cleaning bathroom tile grout. Are you faced with this issue of like, you're cleaning something and then you're like, well, the grout lines really need to be cleaned? I have tried. We bought a special attachment for one of Bob's drills, like a brush that spins. Yeah. Kind of okay. I go online the other day and I decided to search for this. Like, and I actually went to ChatGPT and I said, what is the best way to clean subway tile grout? You're not going to believe that the top thing that it came up with was this. It's a $3 brush from Muji. It's called the grout brush. $3. I had Bob get me one when he was downtown. He was near Muji one day, and I said, "Hey, could you pick up this?
What the hell is Muji? What's Muji?
Muji is a Chinese or Japanese store. I think it's Chinese. Paper products, household items.
How do you spell it?
Muji. Here, let me see if here's the bag, Tim.
Muji. Okay.
Muji.
Oh, okay. That's Japanese.
Japanese. Okay. Lots of little handy things, and they have this brush for $3. Comes home. I decide I'm going to do the bathroom. I'm going to clean. So I followed I watched this thing. Some woman was like, you got to try the Muji. After a chat says, try the Muji grout brush, I find a video about it. Easy as pie. It's been the most effective, a $3 brush. Okay. With a little bit of elbow grease. I couldn't believe how good it worked. And I'm like, So I had to buy like a thing for a drill, a little kit at Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever. That was okay. And here, a $3 thing that looks like an oversized toothbrush does a far better job.
Did you try other brushes before?
No. I only tried, I thought the spinning thing on the end of a drill was going to be the surefire thing that got the grout lines clean because it's a drill.
Is this in the city?
Muji has a bunch of stores in the city.
No, I mean, is the grout because of the city?
No. It's just so.
No, the city apartment.
No, it's the city apartment. Yeah, because we don't have a tiled bathroom upstate.
And you probably don't have a fan in there, do you?
Oh, you bring up a great point in terms of like just. So I think a lot of what gets trapped in the grout lines is just soap and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm surprised you just didn't use the Clorox with the.
Yeah.
Clorox spray. Did it work?
Mm-hmm. Dude, that works for getting mildew and stuff, but this just has a little level of when you start brushing the grout line and you see brown coming down in streaks, you're like,
Don't go too hard. You'd be taking the grout out. You'd be having to replace
it's
tile.
a gentle. Yeah, that's true. It's a gentle thing.
That's funny. There's another Japanese thing I saw. Somebody was talking about how it was a lifesaver and everybody made fun of it, but now everybody loves it. It's a peeler, a vegetable peeler that they have. You should have Bob check that one time when he's there. And it peels cabbage and carrots and certain things, but it's just such a great, inexpensive Japanese vegetable peeler.
And you think they might have it at Muji?
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure they do.
Here are the things you learn on the focus group during Pride Month. Top of the pride to you. All right. Without further ado, Mr. Bennett, what caught your eye?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
So, John, have you had World Cup fever, soccer fever, or football fever, as the rest of the world calls it?
Yeah, isn't there some movement to call it football here too, and rename football something else?
No, I haven't heard that one. I can't imagine.
I've been paying a little bit of attention to it. I'm pleased that everybody that's been attending has been enjoying. So that's a good thing.
So FIFA, which runs the World Cup, what they're doing is, I guess next time it takes place, it's going to be in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. So they're no longer just having one host country. They do 3 or 4, whatever, depending on geography. So while there are many games taking place in the U.S. and the East Coast and West Coast, there's also games taking place in Canada and Mexico. But with the headline that I found, it's in a number of places, it says World Cup tourists aren't leaving tips.
No one
and
should
the
be
restaurants
surprised.
are fighting back. So they said in New York in particular, and then of course it's spread across the country, it says as these cities have transformed into giant international watch parties and an influx of tourists from around the world to support their local teams, local bartenders and servers are discovering that many visitors didn't get the memo about America's tipping culture. And they said that in New York alone, there's an estimated 1.2 million soccer fans that have flooded the area and packing the bars and restaurants. starting in the early morning, going into late night celebrations. They said the cash registers are ringing, the beer is flowing, the tables are full, but the tips are coming up short. There's no tips. So cities are doing something about it. Restaurants in Kansas City, Atlanta, and Philadelphia have now automatically been adding a 20% gratuity to all checks. And they've been talking to a number of restaurants and a number of servers around the country. Some of them said that they're happy that they are making some money. They said most people, they said it's not that the people aren't nice about it. They're just confused about what they're supposed to do when they get a check. For instance, one table, she said she had a tab of over $700. And the people left like $10 or something. They didn't know what to do. And
she had a tab of 700.
Right, and the people that I think the tip there was no, which would have been if you left 20%, $140.
$40, yeah.
So she said that some of the servers are just rolling with it, and they said they're still making some money because people are reminded to leave tips, but they just don't understand it. She said when you hand it's more confusion than it is stinginess.
Yeah.
She said people just don't understand it because across Europe, where most of the fans are from, they said the staff is paid a normal living wage, like professions of other workers, and don't rely so much on tips or don't rely on tips at all. And so the customers assume here in the U.S. they've already paid for service. Same thing is happening in Canada and Mexico. Their tipping is customary in Canada and Mexico. In Canada, they said it's a tad lower. It's not as steep as in the U.S. Canadian tips are somewhere in the 15%, could be 20%. And in Mexico, it's 10 to 15% in terms of tipping, or they prefer that you leave pesos. So I just thought this was interesting. I would have, because I've had the opposite thing when I've gone to Europe. We've left a tip and people chase after you, or to
give you your money back.
To give the money back. I'd gone to a dinner with about 20 people in Finland, and it was a magnificent dinner. The service was fantastic. The food, drink, everything was great. Rob Moran and I were paying the bill, and Rob left a tip because it really was great service. The food was great, and they were mad. They were furious. They wouldn't keep the money. They did not want the tip money, and said that is not customary. But we thought, no, you did great service. No, didn't get it. Same's happened in Japan. When we've tried to leave tips, doesn't go over well. So I get where people would be confused, but that's our culture here, right?
Well, yes, and I remember the last time. Well, I was in Italy last year, and the year before I was in Spain. People do leave stuff like maybe a euro or half, some coins. They'll leave
round it up. Yeah.
They'll leave their change. If they get change, they'll leave the change. But no one's expecting to get that and live on it. It's one of the delights to me of going to Europe. You don't think about it. They do everything with the card. They give you the machine. You tap it. You pay. You're out. You're not worried about like 20%, 15%. But I'm not surprised.
It's the way Uber was supposed to be, right? Remember, Uber was supposed to be no tips, and then it became tips.
And then that changed the game entirely.
Yep. Yeah.
What caught my eye was a little bit different. You and I actually years ago talked about this building. It's out in Ohio. And the headline, this is from the New York Times. It says, "For sale, a 7-story basket." The kitschy building, designed as the Longaberger Basket Company's headquarters, has been a roadside attraction in Ohio for almost 30 years. So Longaberger was the maker of picnic baskets. In fact, they were all types of baskets. At the height, they were a $1 billion company that had about 8,000 employees under their care. And the corporate headquarters was built about 40 miles east of Columbus, Ohio, off of Route 16 in Newark. And it's one of the state's most recognizable local landmarks. It's a big, big basket with handles on top, the whole bit. It has basically sat empty since 2019. Longaberger went bankrupt, or they filed for bankruptcy in 2019. And that's when somebody this guy named Mr. Kuhn, bought the building for about $1.2 million in pre-foreclosure. And he was going to turn it into a luxury hotel. But guess what happened? Pandemic hits in 2020. Yeah. All the plans are put on hold. He's been maintaining the building since then, keeping it up to speed, and all those systems are working. Now, though, they are putting it on the market for $8.5 million, and they're hoping that someone turns it into a boutique hotel. So it's 7 stories tall, 180,000 square feet. It sits on a 21-acre campus, but the facade of the exterior, it looks like you're buying one of those woven baskets. So I'm curious to see who is going to buy something like this, because I think converting an office building to a hotel is actually not the simplest thing, right?
No, I've always loved the look of that. I thought it was very clever for the basket company to have the building look like that. And as a boutique hotel, I think would be kind of cool. Or I guess if another company wanted to have a headquarters office, although that seems to not be in vogue much anymore either, as so many people are virtual. But I always thought it was cool looking. Do you think it's? I hope it doesn't get torn down.
If you're watching on YouTube, I have a picture of it. It is a unique thing. There is no plan to tear it down. He really hopes someone does a boutique hotel. But here's the problem with a boutique hotel: you're in near how many miles out of Columbus, Ohio was it? It was 40 miles east of Columbus. Mm. So you're in, Newark, Ohio, I guess, and it's off the state highway. But what else is around there? So to turn something into a hotel, you want to have people stay there because it's convenient or it's cool. It's a different option than like a standard hotel. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. I don't know what else is around there. It might be near Akron, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think of my Ohio geography.
Akron's the rubber capital of the world, and we know that from...
Also dying.
Is it really?
Well, I shouldn't say dying, but Cleveland, industry. Akron, Pittsburgh, Detroit, they all needed to reinvent themselves because of the industry, particularly steel industry as well. But steel and rubber industries that have all gone away, they've all needed to reinvent themselves. Pittsburgh's done a good job. Detroit is doing a good job, as is Cleveland. They've all seemed to be able to rebound.
Tim, the last time I was in Pittsburgh was with you when we were doing the cross-country road trip, and we did a stop at Edwin Mark Chocolates, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Your hometown, your birthplace.
My birthplace, yeah. 6:07 a.m., St. Mary's Hospital. Yeah, so if you want to buy a 7-story picnic basket, that's a beautiful office building inside with a glass atrium. In fact, the atrium, if you look up, you see the handles above the atrium because it's like picnic basket. The outside stucco, that's how they achieved that kind of wavy basket thing. But what a clever thing for a brand, $1 billion company. Now they're just no more. It's there you go, business, right?
Yes. So I guess it's like being a typewriter company, right? Who does anyone buy a picnic basket anymore?
The baskets are still around. They're still coveted. They're still known as like some of the best. But the last time I saw someone with a picnic basket, the kind that had the little wooden flap at the top. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Maybe it was the Wizard of Oz. Toto's jumping out, right?
No, they're igloo coolers now that are plastic. Mm-hmm. Put the plastic top on it and off you go.
People bring them along. All right, it's time for a signature section of the show, and that would be our business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So born today, June 24th in 1975, so he's 51 today. Happy 51st birthday to the founder and CEO of GoPro, Nicolas Woodman, or Nick Woodman. And as I said, he's the CEO and founder of GoPro. He grew up in Menlo Park, California. He graduated high school in 93. He earned a degree in visual arts and creative writing from the University of California, San Diego in 97. And when he got right out of college, he tried to do a couple of startups that seemed to never make it off the ground. The first one was called EmpowerAll.com. And his deal there was he was going to sell electronic goods for no more than a $2 markup. So I guess if you wanted a VCR that cost $300, he'd sell it to you for $302.
Markup. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Oh, that failed. And then
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we could have told him that, right? And then the second was a company called Funbug. And it was a gaming and marketing platform that gave users a chance to win cash prizes. So maybe like online, I guess like the online casinos they have now. So he received about $235,000 investment from his father, who was an investment banker in Silicon Valley. And his parents also helped fund his foray into the GoPro. And how the GoPro came about, he was in Australia and Indonesia on a surfing trip. And he'd used a 35 millimeter camera attached to his palm with rubber bands because he was trying to capture his surfing
Sports in
activities on
action.
film.
Wait,
So he said
rubber
that
bands?
he had rubber bands on a 35 millimeter camera. And he said that he had seen and talked to other amateur photographers like him who also wanted to capture high quality photos of their activities. And it was difficult because of the cameras. There was no way to steady it or have it do the close-ups. And there certainly was nothing that was affordable in pricing. And so that's how he founded GoPro. He said his solution was to develop a belt that would attach the camera to his body. And so to finance the business, he borrowed $200,000 from his father and $35,000 from his mother. His parents had been divorced. And then took his mother's sewing machine and he sewed these camera straps onto the camera. And lo and behold, he had
The GoPro.
the GoPro.
Well.
So he and his future wife, Jill, who he's still married to, they generated an additional. So he made this prototype of the camera. He then took an old VW bus that he had, and they had bought a whole bunch of beads and necklaces in Bali. And they brought them back to California and sold them on the beach, and they picked up another $10,000. And so he decided that he was going to try to sell these cameras. So he contacted a company in China called Hotax, Hotax. And they made this little 35 millimeter camera for him that he would put the strap on, a wrist strap on, and sold it to him for $3.05. So each camera cost $3.05. And then he started selling them for $30. So he was selling them out of the bus at the beach to surfers and people up and down the coast. And he said his big break was in 2004. He made his first big sale. A Japanese company ordered 100 cameras for a sports show. And so he then in 2012, so he went from selling a couple hundred to 2.3 million cameras he sold in 2012. The product evolved into a digital camera that also supported Wi-Fi remote control, was waterproof, and had micro SD cards. He said what happened was he went on, so to get attention, he'd gone on QVC, the Home Shopping Network, a bunch of these different sort of things, programming, and was contacted in 2012 after he did the 2.3 million cameras by a Taiwanese company who Foxconn. I guess they do Apple, right? Didn't they do Apple
they
products?
Yes, companies hire them to do a lot of their manufacturing, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so they purchased about 9% of the company for $200 million. And so that set the value of the company at $2.25 billion, making Woodman a majority stockholder and a billionaire immediately. He went public in 2014 and ended up being the highest paid U.S. chief executive. He paid himself $235 million a year, while GoPro earned profits of about $128 million. He formed a partnership with the NHL. He had done a PR stunt on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, where he filmed the whole interview with a GoPro. And he had also then gone on Shark Tank, having a great time. 2015, everything was great. 2016 happens, and I have what they call mission creep. They decide they're going to get involved in drones. They're going to branch out and do other sorts of products in the entertainment industry. They tried to branch out way beyond what their capabilities were and what people thought about them, and had a series of layoffs every year. They would lay off people, lay off people, lay off people.
This is sort of unknown to me. This is interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he decided after the final layoff in 2018, they laid off close to probably, I would say 2,000 people.
Wow.
He had announced that he was open to selling off the company. So with the layoffs, he got back into what he said was a flatter structure. We decided to simplify everything and get back to the business we knew and loved as a private company. And they had a major class action lawsuit because he had made false claims and misleading statements about the success of the company, what was going on. He also hid a lot of the design flaws with the drones and overstating what the customer demand was. So he He was named by Fox Business as the year's worst CEO in 2016.
That is not good.
Because he had made so much money. From 2014 to 2018, the value of his stock had declined from 500 million to 36 million.
Wow.
They did give a lot of money to charities. They started some other funds in San Francisco, California area, Montana. He also, they said he was quite philanthropic, but they said he even overstated that. They said beyond a few disclosures, efforts to find evidence of other philanthropic distribution activity that he had said they did, they were able to find no trace of it. So it's similar to Donald Trump, right? Oh, I'm giving this I'm giving $1 million to the veterans. I'm giving 14 million to this time. And they go and they look and they don't find anything.
Never cuts the check. Yeah.
So it was funny. I was just watching the other day. I was watching Shark Tank and he was on there. They said he invested in 2 companies. He spent about $125,000 on the couple of shows he was on Shark Tank in season 6. And, but he's got 3 kids.
Is GoPro still
going?
So it's an independent company. Wasn't acquired by another firm?
No, it went private. Okay. It went back to private because he said they were getting back to basics, back to what they did.
And the basics was selling now it's completely tiny. It's like a little cube.
Yep.
To weekend warriors and athletes who record their journeys. I know a lot of cyclists who actually ride with GoPro, and they do it because they want to be able to capture something like a car doing something wrong, or they, capture the video.
Didn't you have one? Didn't you have one for a while?
No, I've never had one. I wanted one for a while. But every time I came close to getting it, I'm like, okay, it's another device. You got to get the footage. You got to do something with it. I mean, imagine like a normal bike ride, right? If I was doing this, I think if you're a good surfer and you mount a GoPro on a surfboard, you're going to get some incredible footage, right? Because the waves curling over you, the whole bit. Cycling, I could imagine you're going to just get the bike bouncing along on a lot of roads and maybe a fun downhill and some vistas that are cool. But I had thought of doing it when I went to Mallorca years ago, but then the cameras were a little bigger back then. But Tim, this is this typical thing you and I talk about. Be the master of your trade, not the master of many, right? A jack of all trades versus a master of one. GoPro had a very specific niche. I don't know why they would go into drones and stuff unless they just thought growth had to be in that direction, right?
Yeah, they had. So he said the name came up because surfers and that community, the only people who ever got photographed were professionals. Mm-hmm. So for professionals, so amateurs would never get photographed. So this was Go professional.
And that's I love that genesis. Yeah.
But you're exactly right, John. When you do watch shows like I mentioned, Shark Tank, though, they often say to people, well, this is just a hobby or this is just one product. It's not a company. And so many times you hear them saying there needs to be more. You have to have more. But it goes back to what you said, building the better mousetrap. If I make mousetraps and it's successful, why do I need to do anything else?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in this case, yes, he did. He was going to do entertainment things, and they were going into. It looked like maybe other categories in auto, perhaps, or doing drones. Which, So it's mission creep.
It reminds me of the day you and I were on the phone. This goes way, way back, Tim, last century almost. Well, 2000s, when we learned that gay.com was going to be an entertainment hub. Mm. It wasn't just publishing. It wasn't the magazines. It was going to be the personals. They were going to have a studio. And I remember talking to someone at the time because they were then calling all the advertisers to tell them all the great things. And I remember I talked to you, and I think you might have been on the phone with Bob Wittick. We might have had a 3-way call. And we're like, hey, this is that age-old problem of be a master of one, not a jack of many. And history's borne us out. They were going to have cruise lines. That's right. They're going to have cruise lines, personals, magazines. They're going to produce documentaries and film.
Well, I think you came up with the best line. I think you asked, are you going to come up with a titty bar or something? Wasn't it to that effect?
A titty bar on the Vegas Strip. You remember this?
The only thing you're missing is a titty bar on the Vegas Strip. Yeah.
You can get off the boat and go to the titty. Good memory, Tim. That was a very, you do remember the call. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's I remember this when Mary with Greensgrow, when she started selling honey, and then she was selling heirloom tomatoes. I said, when are you going to do lotto tickets and minnows? It's postage stamps, right? I mean, it's. Anyway. So be it. So
Yeah,
that's
so
our
be it,
business.
yeah.
That's
Good
our-
business birthday,
that's
but
our
also
business
some
birthday.
business lessons there, right?
Yeah. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have 11 companies that are doubling down on Pride this month. See if you recognize them all, or some, or none. You'll probably recognize some. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. They're all business, except when they're not. It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is the site. You can learn all about us, including Tuesday's wonderful podcast. Wonderful, of course. Top of the pride to you, TFG Unbuttoned. Tim, before we do our shop talk, we had an interesting note from one of our listeners, Mark. Mark is actually an incredibly good player of Pick That Flick whenever we do the movie game. But he noticed an article about Dave Rubin that popped up where Dave went on to one of those programs where he sits across from somebody and they do that debate thing. You remember the article I sent you? And he's like, is this the same guy that used to do Ben and Dave Six Pack? So the answer, Mark, is yes. Dave Rubin used to be the Ben and Dave Six Pack guy, Star Wars fan, had a cute dog, lived on the Upper West Side, did some stand-up comedy. And then he became...
It was very liberal.
And didn't he go on the Young Turks for a while?
Yeah, he went off to California. Well, they imploded on Sirius XM. And then he went out to California, and then he did a number of, I guess, internet. He did the Young Turks, and he did some other internet platforms, Patreon and some other things. We could never quite understand the numbers.
The money, yeah. Never made sense.
But then we found out the Russians were funneling coin that way. So they were calling him Dave Ruble. Remember? They called him Dave Ruble.
That's right. So he fell into the right-wing podcast sphere.
Yeah, podcast sphere. He was
And
going
if you
to
watch
do the
one of
Trump
it, there's-
talking points. Right?
Yeah, there's even a parody account that takes video clips of him sounding absolutely absurd. Like Dave, well, they just make a lot of good fun of him. And then he was caught up in that podcast thing where it was Ben Shapiro. I forget who else it was. And they found out that there's a media company that paid them hundreds of thousands to produce like one or two podcasts. And you and I know what this market is worth, right?
No, I think he got close to $4 million.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At the end of the day, bought a big mansion in California.
He has a husband,
Florida.
Has a husband named David, and they have 2 kids by surrogacy. Right. And when the right wing found that out, they went ballistic on him. But he's like, no, not all the people on the right are crazy, or they're not this, they're not that. And he moved to Florida, and he shilled for Ron DeSantis for a while. So I think you could see here, we would never use the word grift, but I guess if I did use it, I would.
And you and I had a number of occasions to be with him in personal situations and lunches and so forth, and very pleasant and
very pleasant, very
normal.
funny.
I don't want to say normal, but liberal. Yep. And so the Dave Rubin that I see now, or that I hear every once in a while, is not the Dave Rubin I knew.
That we knew. No.
Maybe he always was some sort of arch conservative. I don't think so, but maybe. He was a gay Jewish comedian. Yeah. Right. Stand up, in New York City. I mean, you can't get more kind of enlightened and liberal than that, I don't think. But
and he was part of what we called the Golden Saturday, right? We had Judy Gold, Hatched by Two Chicks. Then there was the Focus Group, and then there was Ben and Dave Six Pack. I mean, for a while there, Saturday was, in my opinion, the place to be on OutQ. But
some of the better programming. And then there was a sports show afterwards, but that just never seemed to click.
I remember the sports show, Tim. That just never really launched, did it?
Yeah. So.
All right, we have a shop talk for you, folks, and we teased it at the beginning of the show, and it's basically brands that did not give up on Pride, or better put, they didn't back down from Pride. You'll recognize many of these brands. Some I did not. And then Tim found an interesting little gem in this article that I think is worth noting as we go through. It's about how they donate money into who. So their list here, they have 11. Their top of the list is Levi Strauss, or Levi's, America's fashion brand. And they have a collection of denim and leather looks inspired by queer motorcycle clubs. Interesting. LGBTQ plus hobbyist groups closely associated with the leather and kink communities. These clubs became symbols of strength, safety, and solidarity. So I believe this is only available on their website, and they call it the Pride Collection. Is that right?
Yeah, and I thought actually of all the 11 here, I thought Levi's took the boldest of steps because they went right into the motorcycle clubs and the leather community. Referenced Dykes on Bikes, which always used to lead off the parades.
Yeah.
And it also references here that Levi's in 1992 actually offered domestic partnership benefits to their employees way before any companies did. So
now another thing to note is they are giving $100,000 to an organization that Tim and I worked with briefly called Outright International. And Outright we were doing a big consulting thing for a major company, and Outright was one of their charities as well. And when we met some of the people from Outright and we knew more about the mission, it's a really cool organization, well worth looking up. And I think that's a smart donation right there.
Yeah, not well known, I don't think.
Exactly.
And when you compare it to some of the
bigger, like HRC or GLAD.
Yeah. The second company here, REI, which is the outfitter based out the Pacific Northwest, and it's an outdoor goods brand, very crunchy, and it's no surprise. I think they've always had a spirit of inclusion, and they said here that they've got some rainbow clothing and gear designed by non-binary artist Alva Skog, or Skog. I don't know how you would say it. And
let's see how that's pronounced.
Skog. So I'm guessing
a cog is COG, right? So Skog. I go with Skog. Yeah.
Okay. Skog. The company is also hosting pop-up Pride events in Denver, Seattle, and DC this year. And so REI has always been a co-op. Do you have them is there one in the city?
We do. We have a great one down in Soho. Unfortunately, it's their flagship here in New York, and they're closing. They might have a smaller one in the city eventually, but I can find what I need at REI, especially as a cyclist. So,
by the way, as a sidebar, not on this list, did you see that Aldi opened up a store in Manhattan?
Seriously?
Yeah, so you'll have to look it up. Yeah, sidebar. Check it out.
Thank you, because you know me and Aldi, and there's things I get there now that I can't get anywhere else. The next one on our list here is The Bitter Southerner. Never heard of this. It's a progressive magazine focused on the American South that also sells apparel and home goods. This Pride Month, that includes a selection of LGBTQ plus summer camp themed tees, stickers, flags, and even cookies. The company apparently also regularly features LGBTQ plus content in its magazines, making its support for the queer community consistent all year long. So that was called The Bitter Southerner. New one on me.
Yeah, another fast fashion brand that I was not aware of, Hot Topic.
Never heard of him, Tim.
Hot Topic. No, I never did either. They're very plugged into the internet culture and fandom, and also the LGBTQ plus community, so people aren't necessarily surprised. They said they have hundreds of pieces of Pride merchandise this year, things like belts and graphic tees and other sorts of merchandise for Pride. So Hot Topic. I haven't been in a mall in so long either. I wouldn't even know. I couldn't tell you what's in a mall.
Bob and I went to a mall recently because we were up in Albany doing some errands, and I recognized maybe 40% of the stores in the mall. Everything else I've never seen before. Baseball hat stores, like things that are just really not what I thought. Like even off the radar. Spencer Gift's not even there. But anyway, next one up here, number 5 is American Eagle, their clothing brand. And they've created a collection of bright, beachy pieces that incorporate the colors of the rainbow this Pride Month. Also this year, they are donating $150,000 to the It Gets Better campaign, an advocacy nonprofit focused on positive storytelling for our community. I haven't heard of It Gets Better in a while, actually. And I went to their website a while ago, and it seemed to be that people keep churning out these videos. But I wonder, did the It's Get Better moment kind of pass? Not to be negative or anything, but our culture is so, attention shifts so quickly that this surprised me that this was even still getting money. But
Yeah, no, I was surprised by that as well. The number 6, Abercrombie and Fitch, and also has a number of items in what they have for their Pride collection, some sort of denim and crop tees. They're giving money to the Trevor Project as well. They're making a donation of $400,000.
Big.
I thought that was an odd number, though. I thought 250, 500, 400. If you're going to give 400, give 500.
Okay, if you were still a director of marketing and someone came into you and said, we're going to do 420, like, would you have just said, no, do 5?
That's it. Make it 5 or make it 3. That's 350. I don't know. I just think 400 is an odd number. It's more than 250, which is substantial.
Essential, yeah.
And why not? If you can do 400, you're probably going to do 5, and you could probably get up to the next level. Anyway, That's just me.
The next one on our list here is Old Navy, which surprised me, but it says Old Navy. Rounding out our list is another fashion brand. They're offering affordable clothing items that depict LGBTQ plus historical figures, pride colors, and pro-LGBTQ slogans on T-shirts. The Old Navy Pride collection also features several pieces of clothing for children, too, making Pride celebrations a family-wide affair. Again, I wonder about this. Is this online only, or is this in stores, you think?
I don't know. I had gone to, well, there's an Old Navy outlet here, so that doesn't count. So I don't know. I'd have to check it out. It may just be online. I think you're right. The number 8, I get very upset by this company, Bombas, Bombas, because this is another one we missed. Now, you and I, when I was at Subaru, we were giving socks away because it's easy. You don't need extra large. You don't need large, small, medium, large, this or that, regular fit, slim fit, socks. And there were sports socks, ankles, perfect. And we gave away thousands of pairs. And then when you and I had started on Sirius XM, we did socks. We gave away over 15,000 pairs of socks, Focus Group Radio socks. And then these two yahoos go into Shark Tank and decide they're going to give a pair of socks. For every pair that sells, they're going to give a pair to the homeless or do whatever they're going to do. And it is the most successul product ever launched on Shark Tank.
Really?
And every time I see it, I get mad because we were way ahead of the game, John.
Well, you weren't. So we were ahead of the game in the sense that we nailed a perfect thing to give to people that didn't require a lot of thought. It just fit.
And had value.
This whole thing of giving for one sold, one goes away. I didn't realize they were the most successful Shark Tank.
Yeah, it was that, and then that Scrub Daddy was the other one.
I remember Scrub Daddy.
But this one, Bombas, is now branched out. The other thing that pisses me off is they make a slipper now, which my grandmother and the old ladies up in Canada would knit. These knit slippers. It's an exact replica ripoff of these little footies that the old church ladies would make at the Anglican Church in Nova Scotia. I thought, where the hell was I? My brother and I would get a pair every year. They'd come in the little mail from my grandmother. I thought I could have mass marketed these friggin' things.
Oh,
anyway,
in the twilight years, in our twilight years, all the things we missed, right?
Yeah, Patrick and Howard always make fun of me with that. Oh, another thing you guys missed.
While they secretly go off for a McDonald's burger and fries. Yeah,
we missed Bombas.
Next one on the list here of the 11 companies that are still supporting our All In on Pride is Adidas. Clothing and athletic wear brand is currently offering a Love Unites collection featuring pride colors and patterns on shoes, tees, and more. So it's just a merch thing. It doesn't sound like they're donating money or something, but hey, they step forward, pun intended, since Adidas does a lot of sneakers. And there you go.
And then the next one is Petco. Of course, everybody knows, everybody loves their pets. Pets are part of the family. And so Petco has their own pride collection as well. They're also partnering with the Trevor Project, donating 10% of each purchase to go to the nonprofit focused on youth crisis, and the baseline donation will be $50,000. But again, Petco, I always laugh when I go in there and see all the little sweaters. Spike would get a sweater all the time because he would get cold.
Yeah.
Trixie couldn't be bothered, but Spike, he enjoyed being dressed up because he would get cold. So he had a raincoat. He had a sweater. He had a little jersey.
Do you miss Spike at all?
Oh, I miss. Yeah, a picture popped up the other day of him. He and I sitting there. There was a certain way I used to hold him.
Mm-hmm. And it was your left arm. Did you hold him on your?
I would hold him. He was such a character. He's a certain character. Little Chihuahua.
And so Petco is giving that $50,000 plus 10% to the Trevor Project, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And number 11 here, last on the list or close to it, is PetSmart, another company focused on pet products. They're offering Pride-themed items for the pets, of course. They also offer internal resources for LGBTQ plus employees through a resource group called Pride at Work. So that's a funny one to mention because we all know what happened with this administration and their total annihilation or attempted annihilation of internal employee resource groups or DEI initiatives. So Petco and PetSmart rounded out the list. And Tim had noticed something before we began recording about where the money was going on the donation side, right?
Yep. Yeah, the majority of these are all going to the Trevor Project, which is certainly worthy. But I think, as this says, these companies are doubling down. I also think it's a very safe donation.
There you go.
Different than what Levi's has done with outright. The Trevor Project, who's against youth crisis or suicide prevention?
You can't be.
Right. Yeah. And so it's very bulletproof. But it's still admirable that these companies are putting out Pride merchandise or recognizing their LGBTQ consumers. But it looks like the monies are going to places where they're I don't want to say bulletproof, but they're avoiding a lot of the nonsense and the noise. As a quick business aside, as I look at this, I always get Petco and PetSmart confused. I don't know why they just don't merge.
Oh, that's a great question.
But who knows who they're owned by?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Tim, to your point about the Trevor thing, it was good to see that one brand give outright international, which is an organization I think deserves more of a spotlight because of what they do around the world for global LGBTQ rights, not just here. And Tim used to tell me when I was Tim's agency, when he was at Subaru and I was one of his agencies, we would have this conversation at least once a year about donating money. And Tim would look for the one that appealed to the most people. So his example used to always be to me, no one's going to object to you giving money to a breast cancer walk. Who objects to that? We want that problem solved. Right. We want to donate funds to it. So that was sort of, Tim, that was sort of your lens that you look through, was what benefits the most people and, how does that really work? So very clever.
Well, we used to do a lot of money to women's health initiatives because particularly within the female population in general, healthcare was not, they didn't have the benefit or the privilege of healthcare that maybe a traditional male worker might have, married or not. So yeah, a lot of what we did was women related, particularly with cancer and breast cancer research, right? Mammograms and those sort of things. So hey, thanks does the leprechaun have anything to say?
He says, top of the pride to you. Happy 2025. I'm not going anywhere, even though that orange man's in the White House. You better not come to Ireland.
Happy 2026, John. You're a year off, babe.
Oh my God. Maybe I want to be in 2025, right? Top of the pride to you. Someone said
Space Odyssey. What was it? Space Odyssey? Was that 2001?
2001, A Space Odyssey, yeah.
Long time ago. So, hey, thanks for joining us here on the Focus Group. We appreciate your time spent with us. As John mentioned earlier, learn all about us at focusgroupradio.com. You'll be able to find all our media housed there, including our Tuesday podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned. We know a lot of people are out on the road. School's out. People are traveling, having their summer vacations. Don't text and drive. Arrive alive. A lot of morons out there on their phones. You're driving. I don't get it. I was on one the other day, John. The guy was swerving all over the place. I go by and I blow the horn. I'm going to get stickers made. It's a little sticker gun. Idiot.
A sticker gun. Yeah, I like that.
Anyway, so we'll see you next time here on the Focus Group. Take care.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.